Chair recognizes Representative Wickendall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the House. I rise in fierce opposition of this bill today. I rise in opposition to this bill because of my constituents. And a constituent like mine named Kara, who wrote me her own personal story on what losing these Medicaid benefits mean to her. Dear Representative Wickendall, my name is Kara and I'm a Medicaid recipient and have had several mental health care diagnoses. I'm writing today to ask you to vote no on this Medicaid bill. I have a bachelor's degree in elementary education and half of my master's in behavioral disorder and have worked for the school system for over 10 years. As my mental health began to decline, I find it harder and harder to maintain employment for extended periods of time. In the last 7 years, I've worked nearly 15 jobs. I want to work and don't have a hard time finding work, but maintaining that employment is nearly impossible for me. My mental illness caused me to become overwhelmed, and over time, I make mistakes and have emotional outbursts. I'm on medication. If I did not have my medication, I have no idea where I would be. I think this is the case of many recipients of Medicaid. If there's a work requirement put on Medicaid, I fear I won't be able to keep my Medicaid long-term and won't have access to my medication I so desperately need to live a somewhat normal life. Please vote no on this bill. I'm afraid of what will happen to me if it passes. I'm afraid of what will happen to me if it passes. Additionally, I want to call out, with respect to this bill, it calls for a diagnosis of disability under the Social Security Administration. Do you know how long that takes? On average, that takes 2 years. What are people going to do for 2 years while Social Security determines that they are disabled or not? So that is the question I have for this body today. Why is the majority trying to take away Kara's health care access? Since Iowa is not the first state to institute this type of Medicaid bill, and we have the foresight to see that this bill does not do what is advertised. We saw the results in Arkansas. This bill did not increase workforce participation. This bill did not save taxpayers' money. This bill did not improve health care outcomes for the people of Arkansas. What it did is increase red tape and cause confusion among participants and caused 18,000 people to lose their health insurance. And what Iowa is proposing to do is worse. Calling back attention to Section 2, lines 16 through 27, the Trojan horse that requires the federal government to either accept this waiver under this bill or the Iowa Health and Wellness Plan will be terminated and 182,000 of your fellow citizens will be left without health insurance. So again, ask the majority, why are you taking away people's health care? Because perhaps it's worth recalling that in her Condition of the State address, Governor Reynolds came to this very chamber and said she was doing Doge before Doge. And personally, I believe her. And let's take a look at what Doge has done. Doge's record on the federal level is as clear and heinous, and it should inform our decisions on House File 948 today. Because Doge fired 80,000 workers at the VA who work for our veterans to provide them health care, including access to veterans in crisis. Doge is preparing to cut between 6,000 and 60,000 workers in the Social Security Administration. So those Social Security officers who are going to make that disability determination are no longer going to work there to make that determination. And in the process of cutting those jobs, we've seen our people on hold for hours trying to get through to Social Security, website crashes, and cutting benefits to orphan children. Doge unilaterally fired 400 employees of the FAA, jobs that are helping inspect aircraft, controllers, facilities, and updating digital maps to planes in flight. There's this conversation of the dignity of work, then why are they cutting workers' jobs? Does that sound like government efficiency to you? Is that what you want for the people of Iowa? Worse outcomes, long hold times, and denial of care? Because from Governor Reynolds and Doge's perspective, if there's a function or benefit of government that helps the people of Iowa, it must be cut. And for what? What are we gaining? House File 948 gives no material benefit to the people of Iowa. There is no greater workforce participation, no tax savings, no efficiency in government. I am sure at some point today, supporters of this bill are going to talk about how we are combating waste, fraud, and abuse. But based on all available evidence, of what gets categorized as waste, fraud, and abuse. It seems that any money that the government spends to the benefit of its people, the money that isn't being gobbled up by the oligarchy, is waste, fraud, and abuse. The greed of the oligarchy is insatiable, and I know of no reason why this government should deprive 182,000 Iowans of their health care. Iowans shouldn't have to sacrifice their health and their lives so people like Elon Musk can blow up rockets over the Gulf of Mexico. So I ask you today to stand with Iowans and their health care and not the oligarchs. Cicero once observed that in nothing do men nearly approach the gods than in giving health care to other men. So I have to wonder, what does it say when men in power take away health care from their neighbors? Reject this bill today, reject the oligarchy, protect Iowans' health care. Thank you.